So Booking.com, North America, so for many years, you kind of flying under the radar in North America, while Booking.com kind of accelerated throughout Europe and really went gangbusters, Europe and the rest of the world. But the past few years, there have been a concerted effort to market the brand. So can you talk a little bit about the strategy in North America and how that differs versus the other markets that Booking.com is in?
Yeah, sure. No, we've actually been in North America for some time. We started offices here back in 2008. But you're right, largely under the radar. But what we found in markets like certainly the U.S. as well as other markets globally is that the brand matters. And we heard some of that this morning. But the brand does matter. And so it wasn't until a couple years ago that we started to do some offline advertising and really start to raise our brand awareness in the market. And with the brand awareness came, obviously, acceleration of growth of the business.
So now how is that versus, so the U.S. versus Canada, because you also represent Canada, as well as Latin America. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're organized?
Yeah. We have, from Canada down to Chile, I guess we're up to a little over 30, 35 offices in the region. In North America specifically, we're at 23 offices, about 2,000 people now in the region. So certainly have grown our footprint. But it's been, typically the way we grow is our strategy, to your question, is we follow demand. And so where people are going is the places that we want to be, and we want to have a local presence. And so, I think that's one of the things that has differentiated us in the past is being local, being close to the market, having people from the market, in the market, working in the market, and supporting the destination.
So you're responsible for both inbound and outbound?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And domestic.
And domestic. So we haven't had a chance to really talk about your background. So you could tell these folks what your 12, 13 years at Microsoft and how that prepared you for what you're doing today?
Yeah, it taught me a lot. Some what to do and some not.
Would you head up online and advertising?
I did. So big mergers, bad idea.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, I think what I learned in my time at Microsoft, growing businesses like Xbox from zero to something, to how do you acquire and bring in big companies like Skype. But how interesting this online environment really is, and boy, I tell you what, a lot of speculation. We had a lot of conversation this morning about what might happen, what might not happen. And you know what, we're probably all wrong. That's what I've learned is that, you just got to follow demand, understand what customers want, where they're going, what they're doing, and make sure that you're meeting their needs. And speculating is always a good thing to do, but make sure you're following the customer.
So what did you get wrong?
What did I get wrong? I got wrong a number of things, I guess. One thing I guess I'd mention in this crowd is integrating big companies. What I like about the Priceline Group and the approach that we've taken, and I'll tie it to what I've learned since I've been here, is that typically independent brands that have built good companies are good on their own, and trying to integrate and make them just like us was really tough. And learned that certainly with the Skype business. Learned that with another company we bought called Aquanav. That we said, hey, we're going to take you as a company and we're going to make you just like us. And instead, what we found is that they built good brands on their own.
But doesn't Priceline leave the companies to operate
They do, and that's the different approach.
And that's part of the success of Booking.com.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
So what are some of the challenges in the U.S. market? Because it's a mature market. I mean, is there still room for growth there?
Well, mature is, it depends on how you look at it, I guess. Because the U.S. market, and you hear Dara from Expedia and Darren certainly from our group talk about the fact that it is, a huge travel market, and even us combined are less than 10% of the online presence. And so the growth is still tremendous, and it's growth in multiple ways. It's growth in certainly new people and new businesses coming online. It's growth in new technologies. We heard a lot about mobile already, and certainly that's driving some change in our industry. New accommodation types, the continuation of new experiences that people are looking for that aren't conventional in the accommodation space. And so the growth is, mature is really kind of a funny word to use in this online travel space because it's really, very, very immature.
Right. Well, and certainly, so for Booking.com, you have hundreds of thousands of properties. I don't know if you know exactly how many.
620,000.
620,000. And you have most recently expanded into vacation rental properties. So what % of that is are vacation properties?
You know, it's a little known secret, but actually we're already 40% of our property mix is vacation rental, and so that continues to just drive a lot of growth. Back to we follow customer demand, and I tell you what, the demand for those products is really quite amazing. This destination alone, Whistler, about 70% of the business is non-hotel accommodation. So that vacation rental property business, so it's pretty phenomenal to see that growth.
And so now you also have villas.com, which was a brand. I know it was in beta for a while, which is your vacation rental brand. Is that now out of beta?
It's out of beta. We launched it last year in earnest. And what we found out too is that we are a company that likes to take customer demand, innovate in small ways, A/B test, try things out, what works, what doesn't work. We heard that earlier this morning too on one of the life lessons. I can't remember who spoke, but that whole A/B test, try things out, test, see what happens. And so by creating that separate brand on villas.com, it gave us a new platform to really test on, to understand what do people really want in this vacation rental space. And we learned a ton in that.
What'd you learn?
We learned, and it ties back to like connectivity partners we have, who we work with. Certainly LeisureLink is a big sponsor, and we work with them. But customers really want that instant booking experience, instant confirmation, instant availability, especially as we move into the mobile space. And so that's a struggle a bit because, I think conventionally we see that non-instant. So the email back and forth, write a check and mail it. Those are things that we're learning that, especially as we move into mobile, especially as we accelerate our growth, that people want that instant confirmation that, I can stay there when I want to.
Right, and all the properties, the vacation rental properties on Booking.com are bookable online.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah, instant.
So what is your strategy compared to, say, Airbnb or HomeAway?
Yeah. Well, I talked a little bit about that. I mean, I think that, we do take that different viewpoint on the instant confirmation. That's a huge differentiator.
Right.
And we've taken a stand on that, and it's not always been popular, especially with some of our connectivity partners, but that's something that customers told us they want, and that differentiates. We also, I think that what I like and appreciate about Airbnb is that they're willing to go into messy things and kind of help straighten out the regulation and issues that are certainly plaguing them.
Are you sitting back and waiting for Airbnb to let it all out before you get into peer-to-peer?
We're happy for them to deal with some of the stuff that they're dealing with. At the same time, we also appreciate the fact that they're really helping, and so are we to really grow that space because we know it's important.
Do you work directly with owners at all? Do you do work directly?
We work with owners. We certainly work through property management companies as well.
But it's the peer-to-peer space you're not in.
Yeah, but I think we lean more towards bringing on the individual owners. We certainly value our relationships with PMCs as well. But part of the learning is getting all that direct feedback from the property, getting the direct feedback from the customer who stays at the property, so valuable. So both are important.
Right. So how do you connect to inventory, the vacation rental inventory? And you mentioned LeisureLink, but give us some talk about it, and then it's specifically for the ski.
Yeah. It's we connect through direct. We have an extranet that certainly owners can use. We also through connectivity partners. Without getting into the technology, the push, pull, cache, all that stuff, I will just say that connectivity partners. The way we work is primarily through connectivity partners that can support that instant confirmation.
Okay. So Booking, you have a big presence here. What % of your properties would you say are ski mountain destinations? Is that a growing area for you?
Yeah. We see interesting growth in that area. Sort of cut you off your question. The thing that's cool is that we are seeing, especially in North America, and I see some different things in South America. I'm happy to talk to as well, and in Europe in ski destinations. But this. Really leading the pack, all the innovation, intention around building this as a destination year-round, not just a destination during the ski season, is really paying off, and we see that in demand. We see that in booking windows. In some cases, summer season is growing faster in some destinations than snow season, which is both an interesting comment, also maybe ties a little bit to some of the snow experiences we've been having lately. But that whole year-round, it's a year-round destination, and it offers year-round experiences as driving year-round demand. And so, typically, back to the first question, we came to the North American market with a lot of European demand. Now we see that demand coming from, certainly South America, coming from Asia, coming domestic, but year-round, which is really, I think, a cool thing to say.
So you're seeing ski as a growing area of what you're doing. You see the summer as a big area. What about the challenges, or is it a challenge for booking? Because you thought of as kind of hotel, motel, and now you want to inspire people at that dream phase to start thinking about, where do I want to go? Do I want to ski? Do I want beach? What do I want? As opposed to just a transaction.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to change the mindset a bit for the traveler.
It's a good question, good point. Because I think you're right. Our company typically grew through really capturing the customer at that point of interest. So they were ready to make a booking. They typically knew kind of where they wanted to go, and they were looking for an accommodation to support them. That's how we grew our business. But over the last couple of years, we've really changed our mindset quite a bit on that, and it's kind of that pre-booking experience. And so now, if you go into Booking.com, we're trying to leverage all those reviews. So we have over 43 million reviews right now that are active and live. Those are all authentic reviews from customers who've stayed at locations, and they're all 13 months or less old. We actually have hundreds of millions, tens of millions of reviews beyond that. How to take all that data and create something like a destination finder, and that's something you can find on our site now. That I want to go skiing, I want to go to North America. I've never been to North America. Tell me what I should look for, and using all that review data, really exposing new experiences that people are looking for. So that pre-booking and then post-booking too. Before you go, we'll give you a guide to help you take advantage of the full area.
So there's a button now on Booking.com, which I don't know if you market it big time yet, but it's there, and these are destination guides.
That's right.
And so I see there's a lot of social, there's reviews, which you said are all from Booking.com, and then they're all kind of associated with a property. Like how are you kind of integrating that with the properties?
Yeah, it's all those things, I guess. One, it's not no longer in beta, so we're scaling it now. We tend to, like I said earlier, try things out, test them out, get feedback, and then scale. But Destination Finder is certainly, we get things like, I want beer and chocolate. Belgium's a great place to go. Or I want, and so we're really trying to pull all that.
So it's the inspiration phase.
And help guide people towards.
And then how could you work with the folks here to kind of bring all that together?
Well, we do now a little bit. It's how do you want to position yourself? How do you want to position yourself to a global audience? What are the experiences that you bring that are certainly already showing up in the reviews of people who come to this destination? But how to leverage all that rich content to an audience that is global, and it's working.
And then what do you do? You mentioned post-booking as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what do you do there?
Yeah, so now we do a little more on that area too. Really what we're realizing that as the travel community becomes more global and grows, certainly in North America, we see just a continued growth, certainly domestic, but also inbound, international. People have just simple questions, like when I come to Whistler, what's the power source? What should I bring? How do I get around? How do I get from Vancouver up to just basic things, beyond just one of the experiences I should look at and who likes what. And so now we're equipping customers between that book and stay with what we call destination guides to really help people understand what's available in the destination. And that's also a great partnership opportunity that we're going to want to make a paid public announcement, but it's a great way for us to also highlight some of the great things in the destination.
Okay. So to play devil's advocate, so
You do that, yes.
I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
I'm an OTA. I'm a mountain or a ski destination or property. Why do I need to work with an online travel agency? Why? I want to build my direct strategy. I'm on TripAdvisor. I'm working with local tour operators and DMOs. What's the value proposition?
Simple answer would be you want to be where your demand is. And so the more complex answer is that demand's coming from multiple locations around the planet, going through multiple means, and so multiple languages, multiple search engines, multiple. Certainly, you talked about TripAdvisor, but there's multiple meta out there as well, and so customers are typically going to go to where they want to go. I also think it's great to build a direct presence. I think that's fantastic. Have a great direct presence, but then also leverage distribution as an ally to help you reach global, certainly, and then certainly to help you reach where customers are going.
And do you
more
feel
and
like
more
that's
customers are coming.
is that, I wouldn't say an uphill battle, but do you feel like you're constantly kind of working at it and getting independent properties to really think about the value of working with Booking.com or OTA?
Yeah, no, I think that the independent properties I find are more open to the understanding of, to spend the money to make the investment. Because I didn't talk about mobile either. How do you get, the technology you need to be where your bookers are at, but to reach, to get the localization, to get the customer support 24/7, that's a lot of investment. And that's also a lot of value for working with the OTA.
Well, you mentioned mobile, so that obviously is a big piece of your business. I don't know if you want to tell us approximately how big.
Well, let's see. 2 years ago it was about $8 billion. Last year about 16, so it's doubling in size. But it's multi-billions of dollars coming through mobile.
And a ski traveler is a lot more likely than the average traveler to use a mobile device to search and book. So how are you using mobile to reach the ski marketplace?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's one maybe a little controversial for this for some in this audience, but I'll be honest and data-driven. What we see with the mobile is it's not just a new way to book. It's not just I'm just going to use my phone instead of my PC. It's also a new, it's driving some new trends that we're seeing, and that is the last-minute trend. And so, the book, and it's not an or thing. It's not that customers are no longer booking that long booking window, long length of stay, coming from a faraway destination to stay in a location like we're in here. It's also that it's an and thing. Customers are also here for the day and realizing that they want to stay. And so how do they have both the ability to do that, so some flexibility, because I know a lot of what we work with here a little bit is the long length of stay, week at a time, conventional booking window, but also how do you accommodate that last minute, I want to stay for the night, which is hard, right? That's hard. It's expensive, it's hard to support. But it's also, we see that in the demand.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So you have Booking Now, which is launched, right, the last-minute booking app.
Yep.
And kind of like a response to Hotel Tonight and other last-minute booking apps. So how can you kind of inspire people, like here the conditions are so great, but everybody may not know the top of the mountain is really fantastic skiing today. Like how can you inspire that last-minute trip for the ski industry?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I think that, one, it's destination. So partly it's how do you continue to promote the destination, which we're doing work on. I mentioned that earlier. It's also, really creating, more, again, in partnership, more awareness around, what the destination has to offer. Great skiing up on the mountain, but there's also so much more to do. There's events taking place in Whistler right now, as an example, that, how do we make sure that people understand that this is not just a great ski destination, it's also a lot more than that. Restaurants, tying in restaurants, and so certainly, one of our family products is Open Table and some things we're doing there to make sure that when you come to this destination, you're also taking full advantage of the great things that are in the destination.
So are you working with them, sister company, Open Table?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also we're at Explain Boutique, because that's another sister company that you said is kind of more of a partner now with Booking.com. You're working closely with them.
Yeah. So we bought a company last year called Boutique. Boutique focuses on really the long tail, but how to build great direct website experiences for accommodations. And so that's might sound counter to an OTA, which Booking.com historically has been. But if we really want to position ourselves as a marketing platform to help you drive reach and conversion, we also realize that direct is a part of that play. And so Boutique offers, again, a great way to build your own direct presence that drives conversion. And so, again, customers are going to go to where they want to go. If they're coming to your website directly, why not make sure that it's optimized to drive conversion? Okay. So they are now part of the Booking.com family, so we call them Booking Suite.
Right. So now in terms of the ski destination marketing and distribution, what would you say are the top 3 things that you see changing over the next 3 years?
Wow, in ski destinations, top 3 years. I guess I'd start with continuation year-round. So not just a ski destination, but a destination. So experience destination, so I'd look at that. I'd say flexibility would be the other thing. So how to make it more of a flexible destination where people can stay for a week, stay for a night, stay for 2 weeks. and then more global. So more and more global experiences that people are looking for. So global, flexible.
Could you talk about global a little bit more? I mean, obviously, because when I think global, I always think Booking.com because it's really what you are, based in Amsterdam, and you have a presence all over the world. So how are you kind of how can you bring people from other parts of the world, say, into North America for the ski destinations?
Yeah. Well, again, we have a real global reach. So I talked about the Americas and the presence that we have here in the Americas, but we also have 155 offices globally. And work both, to your question, inbound, outbound, and partnerships as well.
So how do you work with the other markets, specifically for something that
I'll give an example maybe of Asia and our C-Trip partnership. And C-Trip is largely outbound China. And what we see in the C-Trip growth is it's largely outbound China to the U.S. And so that's a great way that we partner with a local entity within a country to help drive outbound into a destination like the U.S. And we see that driving a lot of growth.
Okay. And do you work at all with Priceline, like in terms of building any air hotel packages? I know you work so separately, but together? Yeah,
that's a good question. So for those who don't know, the Priceline Group, 6 companies, we work pretty independently across the brands. There are occasions where we see opportunities to work across brands, and we take advantage of those. I mentioned OpenTable, certainly Kayak and others. But what we do is, if there is an opportunity to work across the brands, we certainly do explore it. And so through mostly our strategic partnerships, we work with the Priceline Partner Network to drive the opportunity for packages, to your question. So if we're working with a partner who says, what's really important to me beyond hotel accommodations is also flights, then we'll partner through PPN.
Okay. So what are your top 3 initiatives at Booking.com, Todd?
Wow. I'll start with people. I think we're a people business.
Is it hard to get and recruit, or how?
Yeah, no, I think it's...
we heard so much about millennials today.
No, I think it's... is it hard to recruit? Well, I think that we typically can attract the talent we need. What we find, though, is our model typically is to go into a market, bring some of the experience into the market, so that's obviously, or honestly, exporting talent into a market, and then hiring local to build the market. And so I think that it's not hard to find. It takes some time to do that, though. But it's a great industry. It's a great company, and so we're able to attract talent and typically keep talent in the markets that we work in. And so, but people, certainly super important.
Initiative number 1.
Initiative number 1, people. How do we continue to attract, grow, develop the teams that we need? Number 2, growth. And that's a lot of organic growth, and I love organic growth. I'd always take organic growth, but it comes with challenges. How do you keep up with a company that's almost doubling in size every year?
Right. It's back to the question I had asked earlier in the U.S. market. Like, how do you, and I guess Canada as well, right? That they're starting to get more saturated. So, but you said plenty of growth is left. Where? What are the pockets of growth?
Yeah, still in the conventional spaces that we're doing business. People are looking for accommodations, and so that's great. And so it's. But that growth brings with it some certainly opportunity. So you think about how we scale and how we make sure we're doing this right. As we get bigger as a company, how do you become more globally relevant but locally relevant? And so how do we match the two? Because we're also a company that believes heavily in scalability. And so.
So is it more
growth.
reach? Is it more properties? Getting more properties online?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. Quite honestly, if I had to answer that, I think the demand continues to grow at a great pace, and the conversion of that demand is still pretty small compared to the opportunity of the accommodations. So, as we continue to add more properties, how do we drive more conversion to those properties is certainly a growth opportunity that we have. So people, growth, and I'd say just, I don't know, it sounds a little trite, but, just having fun and enjoying it, and I think that's the fun thing about the industry is we're in a great industry, and it's becoming more interesting every day, and so we just enjoy it.
Absolutely. Just talk about back to the market trends in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
There has been consolidation, right, with Expedia acquiring Travelocity and soon Orbitz. So how does that kind of change the landscape at all?
I'd say very, very little. These are obviously brands that have been working in the U.S. for a long time. Expedia independently, and then certainly Hotels.com and Travelocity and you know, pending orbits. You know, from my perspective, you know, and I guess I'll admit, you know, our CEO has a perspective on it. He shared that pretty clearly, that he likes organic growth versus bot growth. But I like Dara's perspective too. I'll be balanced in this. I don't think it's either or right or wrong. I think it's a strategy nonetheless, and so consolidation is certainly a strategy that they have, and I think that's fine. From my perspective, though, it's not all that relevant.
You don't say, oh, I wish we bought Orbitz?
No, I think that, you know, Orbitz is a fine company, but I think that our organic growth, I'd rather have the challenge of keeping up with organic growth than focused on integration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we conclude, we're going to do a lightning round.
Lightning round.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We have a couple, we're going to mix it up a little bit.
Okay, all right.
All right, first thing that comes to your head. Google. When I say Google, what's the first thing that comes to your head?
We're doing lightning round now? We're already
Google.
into it?
Yes.
EU. Friend.
Friend. Okay, that's nice. Who were you watching the most, TripAdvisor or Airbnb?
Airbnb. I like their innovation. Yeah, except, yeah.
Okay.
That's not a one round, that's not a one answer.
I
That's
know, I'm mixing it up.
you
It's
don't
not
want me to say
exact-
Rottweiler
It's not
with
exactly a
Airbnb.
lightning round.
Yeah.
Expedia plus Travelocity plus Orbitz.
uninteresting.
I love it. Kayak.
Hafner. Enough said.
Enough
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
We're moving on to what type of skiing do you like to do? Are you a green? Are you a blue? Are you a single black, double black, or triple black?
Wow. My answers changed over time. So
You used to be triple black. And then,
yeah, I was, yeah, I used to, well, yeah, and even here, I think last time I was here with friends skiing recently, I'd probably say I'd stayed more to the blue, maybe single. When I skied here about 10 years ago, I was accused of my friends of trying to ski waterfalls, so frozen waterfalls, so that's
Really?
a different story.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, changed over time.
what's your management style like? Is it a green, a blue, a single? Black, double black, or triple black?
Wow, putting management style in context of skiing. I'd probably say I'm well, I like the answer earlier today. I agree with the gentleman that said servant leadership. So I tend to believe my role is to really help support, grow the team and the people in the business, and I do that in a triple black way.
Okay. You're a Six Sigma black belt. Has that ever, no?
Yes.
Yes. Has that ever come in handy in the travel industry?
Yeah, you know, it's you know, we're a very, very data-driven company, and you know, a lot of what Six Sigma brings is the ability to take a look at data and understand what it means. And so I'm in data all day long, and so the data certainly, you know, forming something out of it that is something we should react to is important.
Okay. And Todd, what would you be doing right now if you weren't working for Booking.com?
What am I doing now? I'd probably coaching boys soccer.
Great answer. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Dunlap.
Yeah.